It is 11 o'clock, hour number 2 here on Three Man Front. Appreciate you tuning us in on this Wednesday. Tonight, the Alabama Crimson Tide without Charles Bediako. They'll be in Oxford, Mississippi, taking on the Ole Miss Rebels each and every week at this time. Brought to you by Craneworks. We catch up with the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah, the big dog's got it.
Crimson Tide Network's Chris Stewart on Three Man Front is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it. The big dog's got it. And now, Chris Stewart.
And Chris joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Welcome into the show, Chris. I hope you're doing well on this Wednesday.
Yeah, man, I am. Hope you guys are too.
We are doing very well. Well, before we talk about tonight's matchup, be remiss if I do not go back and discuss the Charles Bediako decision that came down earlier this week, in which his eligibility now has been ruled void.
Yeah, and disappointed, first of all, for Charles. I've said it before, great kid, young man, 23, but a great young man who we all loved having around the program. The basketball is obvious, but the personal side is what I'm referencing, and just thoroughly enjoyed having him around. And I believe that it's my understanding, I have not talked to Nate Oates, but from the things that I've read, he is still with the program, will be around. He's getting his degree. Again, highly regarded personally, or he wouldn't have been allowed to come back when all this started.
I know
so disappointed for him, but also disappointed, obviously, for the team.
And Chris, I know that everyone was hopeful on a positive ruling from whatever judge heard the case there in Tuscaloosa, but I have to believe that Nate Oates and the staff not totally shocked by the ruling that we got earlier this week.
I would guess that is fair. I didn't ask him that point blank when I was with him at the radio show Monday night. Wasn't really the place for it, but I just, I didn't get the sense from him that, while disappointed, obviously, I don't think shocked would be an accurate term on this. He's been clear about his opinion of Charles and his eligibility and where he thinks it should be and why he chose to roll the dice, if you will, on this to begin with. And again, I thought he made a great point is, look, we're disappointed, but you have to, it's not as if we were a terrible basketball team before. And it's not like it's a 3-2 record with him would indicate. It's not like we became, suddenly a guaranteed champion with him. Do I think we were going to be much, much better once the other banged up, injured guys became healthy, or if that became the case and you had Charles? Absolutely. I still think, though, this group, if we can get everybody on the floor at the same time, well, not at the same time, but you know what I mean,
yeah.
Everybody healthy at the same time, then you've got a chance to still be a great team that contends for everything that is still out there in front of them. But with Charles, you treat it's like an injury. It's exactly what Nate Oates says. He said season-ending injuries happen. You have to move on and go play. And in essence, that's what you're dealing with here. He's no longer available.
Well, that was going to be kind of the line of questioning I was going to go down next. Just from a personnel standpoint in the rotation, what does that do in your opinion, and how does that affect Alabama moving forward without that other extra big body, healthy body on the floor?
Yeah, it's not as if you're going with a direct substitution for him, but as often happens with Nate, how you play changes. Often you'll see a big come out and maybe Aiden Holloway come in, and you just shift some guys over and kind of the positionless basketball that he talks about quite a bit is kind of what transpires. Taylor Bowen probably gets more of an opportunity at the 4. What you were able to do, and this is the versatility of the team. When you had Charles, you had the option of playing both Charles and Aiden Sherrill on the floor at the same time because Aiden can play the four. He's versatile enough, shoots it well from the perimeter, could step out and do that, and was very, very dangerous to opposing teams. Now Aiden, who already was one of the best shot blockers in the league, is back to the five, and you're able to play uh, Taylor Bowen at the four, Amari Allen at the three, or Amari at the four. You play three guards, Houston Millette giving you a big guard at the three or the two. Um, so it's not as if this team, doesn't have options even without Charles. You just don't have what his very specific skill set is, and that's a rim protector who is able to score at the rim very effectively and in pick and roll situations.
Visiting with our friend Chris Stewart, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, on the call tonight inside of the Pavilion, Oxford, Mississippi, as Alabama takes on the Ole Miss Rebels. This Ole Miss team tonight, we know that Chris Beard, kind of the style that they like to play with. They like to muck it up. They like to slow things down, get after you defensively, and then have a shot there at the end. When you look at Ole Miss going into tonight's game, how does this version of Ole Miss, Chris, vary from other versions you've seen in seasons past?
I don't. I think they've taken on the personality of their coach, as you said. They've been competitive in most games. They're certainly capable of beating Alabama or anybody else. They've got a very versatile look. When you talk about Malik Dia, who is 6'10", 6'11", can play around the rim very effectively, but man, he can step out and shoot it well from the perimeter also. He is a really tough guy to manage. And when they popped us last year, um, he's a big reason why. He's a heck of a player, but you got AJ Storr who can score it effectively. They're not a team that jumps off the page like some other teams you faced, even within the league, because of what their record is. They don't seem to be as dangerous as some of the others, but they're good. And yeah, I mean, they haven't had a home game. I think it's forced because of the weather issues and having to flip schedules because of the damage in Oxford. They've had to play, I think, 4 straight games on the road. So their fans will be glad to have a home game. The players will be glad to be back at the Pavilion. And I expect that to be, as it normally is, a pretty tough place to go in and try to get a win.
About a week and a half ago, I think it was, I can't remember which game it was, but Nate Oates publicly came out and challenged LeBaron Philon with his defense. And watching the games, again, from my point of view, it looks like Philon has stepped up his defensive performance. Overall, does it give any concern at all in regards to the amount of points, at least the last 2 games, that Alabama has given up? Or is it just the fact that who you played and the type of offense that Alabama went up against defensively?
It's a combination.
Okay.
I go back to something that Nate told me at the beginning of the year, well, months before the season started, actually. I said, how are we looking? He said, well, maybe the best offensive team I've ever had, which obviously you guys have followed it closely and you know how good they've been offensively. That gets your attention when Nate Oates says that. But he said, I'm not sure we can guard you and me, but we're going to be able to score, and that's been the case. But when they do get locked in defensively, now obviously a major piece of that is gone. The rim protector that was there, the fallback, if you will, and Charles is not available to you. But again, you got Aiden Sherrill, one of the top shot blockers in the league and in the country. You have guys who are very capable of defending, and that's the key, is making sure you defend on the perimeter and not allow the penetration to the lane, to the rim, so that the absence of Charles is as much of a factor as it could be.
Chris, you've seen a lot of the teams in the SEC so far this season. You'll see others as the season continues to go on. But you look at the elite teams, and we kind of formed a list here on the show. You've got 6, Alabama being one of those, where no worries, you're going to be in the NCAA tournament. Aside from Florida, though, who is that team that you see on any given night clicking on all cylinders could be the most dangerous come tournament time?
Obviously,
Yes.
when Alabama's full roster is available, we fall into that category. I think Arkansas is capable of being that type team. Oh gosh, you know how my memory is, guys. On the short,
I think
the
Arkansas is a really
short-term
good
end
one,
of it.
Chris.
No, I do think that they are, with Cal, but also the athleticism, the style. Gosh, I don't know. Tennessee's still good. I know that they haven't played as well, maybe as of late, but I think they're a really dangerous team. I think now college basketball is wide open. At the same time, the teams that have been up there consistently, I still think Arizona may be is the one we're all going to have to chase, because I've seen them up close and personal, and when they're at their best, Katie bar the door. It's a really, really scary good basketball.
Do they have any
But
European players on that team, Chris?
I'm going to remove myself from
sorry.
the conversation.
He couldn't resist.
Sorry,
Could he,
I
Chris?
couldn't
Trying to get you in
resist.
trouble.
I'm on with the voice of
I
the
do,
Tide. I
and-
was going to throw that out there.
Well, my very close friend and longtime broadcast partner, Brian Pasick, who is the king of snark, enjoyed thoroughly pointing out during the Florida game, there was a guard, and I think he said 7-year pro, or he kept referring to former European professional so-and-so, and valid arguments all, but I am going to stay away. I tick people off enough.
Well,
I don't need to go.
I
and
just-
search
you?
for things.
I was
Yeah.
I was actually leading you to talking about the phonetical pronunciations of all of those difficult names. It had nothing to do with eligibility, but I'm glad that you.
Of course it
I
did.
Yeah.
understand.
I'm so
And
full of
there,
it.
there are challenges there. Thankfully, athletic communication staffs do a great job of providing pronunciation guides for us, and if I can read those, then I'm good.
The disclaimer, there it is.
Are you taking the Chris Stewart G5 over to Oxford this afternoon? Are you taking the Lane Kiffin private plane over to the game?
No, but I'll be in my Townsend Honda as usual, and just make there. But I may stick some wings on the side of it. I may stick like refrigerator box parts on the side, just to give myself the feel. That is the nice thing. Since 22 has gone in, baby, I can get there from Birmingham.
That's
Much easier. The old days of having to drive through on 78,
Green
and
Top
all the
Barbecue?
traffic lights, among the other sites on 78. Yes.
Oh yes, I forgot
Some
about
of
the
which
one.
are still around, I'm told.
That's
some
for
of
sale.
which are not.
I think it's for
Uh,
sale.
I think the Trap. I
Don't-
saw a news
don't know.
story. Are they turning that into a church or something?
it's being converted to something. I
That's-
think it's for sale. I think.
You understand the knowledge, the intimate knowledge that individuals have when they call landmarks by nicknames, and the fact that he just called it the Trap.
I didn't want
or-
to say what the
I
first
think-
name of the
Yeah.
business was.
No, but I felt like you could have just as easily gone for you Thursday night would have been the phrase for
Yes.
said place that I don't even know what we're talking about, but we'll
No,
go that. We'll
no.
just move right along.
Hey, it didn't cause any stumble or hesitation with you two when I said it.
The
You
best
knew exactly what I was
the
talking
best
about.
line I ever heard about that place, which I won't use on air, but had to do with the fact that what are we talking about when they serve a lunch special? I
Well,
mean,
did you
and
hear
I
about the
can't
two
say
by
this.
four, the banging of the 2x4?
I don't even want to know, and
Okay.
I'm not sure I could ask. But the line I can say, because it's what's the thing about a clean line to an otherwise dirty joke? But man. He goes, I just don't understand going there for lunch, ma'am. Would you please get your big toe out of my mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a great segue to tell everybody about our wonderful friends at Craneworks.
Would have been.
You're
Hey,
welcome,
if
Uptons.
you're hauling, if you're having to haul mashed potatoes,
Yeah,
or
big
you know,
toes.
maybe you're destroying a building and you've got to move stuff away. Craneworks is a company you may want to call. It's the most trusted name for crane and equipment rental in the Southeast for over 30 years. They've got a fleet of cranes ranging from 2.5 tons to 500. Craneworks also offering trained and certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Locations in Birmingham, Nashville, Mobile, and now Huntsville. Don't be a boob. Visit craneworks.com for more info.
Yeah, that's why he's a pro.
Yeah. That's the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. You can't get that anywhere else
Or
but
it
right
was.
here.
It was.
Hey, it was a heck of a run, Chris.
Heck of a run.
Heck of a
It
run.
was. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See
See
you,
ya.
Chris. Man, wow. All timer right there.
See, we can get him to let his hair down.
Yeah, absolutely. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our resident bracketologist, Rocco Miller, will join the show. We'll see if Auburn's in trouble. A little losing streak going on the Plains. Does that have anybody concerned when it comes to bracketology? We'll ask Rocco coming up in about 13 minutes here on Jocks. Little motley crew on this Wednesday. Can't go wrong there. 11:21 here on Jocks, 1-800-239-WJX. We have not had an opportunity to get to your text messages on the Courtesy GMC text line. Many of you already chiming in on a myriad of topics on this Wednesday, including our last segment with the award-winning broadcaster from the Alabama Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. This one coming from North Alabama. We appreciate our great Jocks listeners up there. Ian Westbrook, mashed potatoes with toes always brings on them toilet demons. Yes, it does.
Have you ever had that where you've been, not obviously a toe, but you're at a restaurant and you
I
find...
thought you were going to say toilet demons.
No, well, we've all had those. But have you ever found something in your food? Not like a hair, but...
No, a hair.
Yeah, but like you hear crazy stories about people find like a nail or something.
No.
Not a fingernail, like a nail.
Mm-mm. One time when I was a kid, we went to a drive-thru with my mom, and they gave us a bunch of napkins in the bag, and half of the napkins were soaked with Windex.
Ooh. Yikes.
Did you eat them?
No, but we didn't pay at that place for a while.
Yeah, probably not.
And my mom, the guy insisted.
The napkins were clean.
Yep. Oh, wow. People now sending us pictures of Wesley's booby trap. There it is. Molly, there's a landmark right there.
No, I'm kidding.
No windows on that building. That's weird.
Yeah, that's... Where is that?
Walker County.
Highway 78.
Someone at my high school worked there.
What was her name?
Was he a bouncer?
Do that. Not going to do that. No, she was not.
Oh. She was
not a
part of the
bouncer.
cast.
She was a performing artist.
Oh.
Was it a teacher?
No.
Is she a good singer?
No.
I'm
I
not
don't
going to
know.
judge. I'm not going to judge. I don't know what her story is.
No.
She was older than me, but yeah.
I realized that dancing wasn't for me early in my career.
And yet you still gave it a try.
You know, if we have break dancing, why do we not have pole dancing in the Olympics?
That's a great question. From what I understand, it's very physically taxing. Like, very difficult.
Yes. I feel like the United States, we could do well in that one.
Probably so.
Austin says, technically, Wesley's is in Jefferson County. All right.
The state line, state line. The county line is like right, literally.
Like across from the establishment.
I don't know if this is coming from a student, but apparently we have a report from the capstone. Bediako not in his only class today again.
Uh-oh.
I mean, was he in that class a week ago? Because that would be a surprise to me. I'm telling you, it might be different now.
If I'm coming back to play basketball, I am not walking across campus.
In my entire 4 years of college, every class I had with a notable athlete, I saw them one time, and it was syllabus day. The guys that didn't play, I saw them every day.
Well, I'll say this. I had class with Andy Kennedy, head coach of the UAB Blazers, and he was in class all the time.
One of our listeners says Chris Stewart, but I've heard the stories about the 2x4's usage at Wesley's Trap. Hilarious. I had a guy that I used to work with that claimed that they did it. No, nobody ever claims that they've been there, but he claimed that he knew someone, and then he described.
Correct.
And it might have been your classmate.
I mean, I've heard, again, many stories of the same thing, and it's, like you said, everyone, well, I've never been there, but from what I've heard, like, all right, well, someone's been there.
Uncle Jerry from Hayden says, I can tell you I've never seen any food served at the Trap. Back before I retired from the Trap, I'd make runs to Green Top to get food for the girls so they could eat between dance sets. Very nice of you.
Just have somebody throwing up out there on the stage.
I mean, I think I've told you this before, but when Paul and I worked at another broadcast company, which was right up the hill from one of the famous establishments here on this side of Homewood, one of the DJs on one of our music stations worked afternoon shift there at the entertainment place that's recently changed its name.
Yes.
Spinning the hits.
And then he would come up the hill and he would play Michael Bolton music. Quite a dichotomy.
I feel like
Playing-
probably Motley Crue was more what was going
more
on
Alice in Chains.
there. Yeah.
And stuff like that. And they'd come up.
Please
and-
welcome to the main stage, Chastity.
Yeah, a little bit different coming up the hill and playing Michael Bolton.
Right
hits.
now, on your drive home, let's listen to a little Michael Bolton. How can we be lovers if we can't be friends? Going back to the toilet demons from the Olympics, this listener says, I went fishing with my buddy at his boss's private lake. I had to poop so bad, I ran into the woods. Just my luck. I pooped on top of a yellow jacket's nest or a honey nest.
Oh,
I got
no.
stung
Oh,
dang near everywhere the sun don't shine.
Oh my gosh.
And if you're just now tuning in, what we were referring to is this morning, Ryan Cochran Siegel. He won a silver medal in the Super G for the United States. And moments after that award-winning run, he had this to say to the Olympic broadcasters.
I was like feeling okay in the downhill. Definitely had to fight some demons with the toilet before my run.
There you go. But he won. He not only won against the demons, but he won against the hill.
I feel
He won
like
silver.
great endorsement opportunity if it's not already there for Dude Wipes.
Mm-hmm.
that's a good idea.
Sign him up today.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel fresh when you're competing for gold. Something tells me he did not feel very fresh. Adversity. Talk about it all the time, Pat.
Always feel like a champion on your throne.
Hey!
Man.
There
That's
she
good.
is.
Yeah, that's
Put
good.
me in marketing.
Who is this kid?
Rocco Miller, our resident bracketologist, he's going to join the program next. We'll get his thoughts on Auburn's current slide, if that's going to have anything to do with where they're going to be placed in the NCAA tournament. That's all straight ahead on Jocks. It is 11:33 here on Jocks. A lot of basketball talk as we are getting one day closer to Selection Sunday, the NCAA basketball tournament right around the corner. And we're always happy to be joined each and every week on this program. The bracketeer, the bracketologist here on Three Man Front, Rocco Miller, joins us here on Three Man Front. Rocco, what part of the world are you coming from this week? Are you west of the Rockies or east of the Rockies?
Always a good question. West of the Rockies for this week. We have a first place game coming up on Saturday in the West Coast Conference that has a lot of local excitement. Santa Clara is 12-1 for the first time since 1994 in the WCC, and they play Gonzaga at home. An opportunity to be first place outright for the Broncos, which I don't think's happened since then, and a lot of buzz for that Saturday night game, so I'm sticking around.
All right, so let's start with the Auburn Tigers to get your thoughts on them. They lost their third in a row last night. This has been a very tough portion of their schedule. It was a quad one loss against the Vanderbilt Commodores, so a lot of people around here are starting to get a little bit nervous about Auburn's placement. What do you think about Auburn right now, and are they in danger of potentially slipping a little bit more according to your bracketology?
Yeah, well, it's a fair question. I mean, at a certain point, you can only take on so much water into the boat until the boat eventually flips over. And right now, Auburn's got one of the toughest schedules in the country, quite clearly, because you look at the resume and you see the 10 losses, and then you look at the 10 losses, who they were against. And, you know, Missouri's the one team that's probably really close to the bubble or being out, but they were in as of yesterday. They remain there. And so here's the case for Auburn. All 10 of their losses are against NCAA tournament teams. So you would put an average bubble team against that same schedule. You would expect an 8-10 type of record and still be somewhat impressed. Auburn, of course, is headlined resume-wise by that huge win at Florida, which is aging better and better by the week. And that didn't happen too long ago. It's just about 3 weeks ago. So I think for today, Auburn remains in the field based on that. But obviously with 7 to go, it breaks down pretty much like this. You have 4 of those 7 against non-tournament teams. And so to keep that story alive and basically tighten it, you got to win those 4 games. That starts with at Mississippi State next Wednesday. They play at Oklahoma the following week, and then they host both Ole Miss and LSU down the stretch. I think a loss in any of those games starts to really allow the committee to poke holes in their worthiness of being an at-large team. You also have some big opportunities to solidify the resume. Starts at Arkansas this Saturday. And again, this is a situation basketball-wise where the Tigers are off of a 3-game losing streak, and you would expect to see probably their most desperate, their most focused effort in Bud Walton, which is a very difficult venue to play in. Kentucky, of course, just became the first team to win there as a road team all season. So we'll see if Auburn can get off the schneid in that game. Of course, if they can win there or win at Alabama, get revenge on the Tide to close the year, that would allow a little bit of wiggle room for one of those 4 non-tournament teams to sneak up on them. But that's where it stands right now. I think they're still in a decent spot. The wins above bubbles, the metric that the recent committee was very obsessed with last year, and I refreshed that this morning. Auburn's still 34th, which is a good sign because I do think around the top 40 would probably all get in, and the cutoffs last year was around 43rd. So they have about 9 spots of wiggle room there. But again, you don't like seeing all these losses, and if they get up to like 15 losses or so, it's going to be very difficult to get in.
Rocco, meanwhile, Alabama, they're in Oxford tonight taking on an Ole Miss squad that has struggled. This Alabama team not in jeopardy of missing the tournament, but I would like to get your take on what you saw Alabama, the 5 games with Charles Bediako, how much his departure now maybe upsets the apple cart on the stretch run of the regular season, and what is the ceiling for this Alabama team now as you see it?
Yeah, it's a good question because it's basically you can answer it 2 ways. So I'll start with the bracketology side of things. You know, I think the way that Alabama performs these last 8 games will go a long ways in where they're seated ultimately because, you know, actually there's still a good amount of information from before. Obviously, the big win over Illinois happened with the current roster and also the big win at St. John's. And I think those two wins continue to carry the non-conference resume. And also they've done some damage in the conference. Of course, winning at Auburn is a really good road win. Picking up a couple of decent road wins at Mississippi State and Oklahoma along the way. But I think their performance, if it's drastically different than these last 5 games in a negative way, that could impact their seed, and it will impact their seed anyway because the results will dictate that. But I think if it goes the other way, where if they play at the same level or play even better for any reason, it could give Alabama a favorable rating. Now, the way I would answer it basketball-wise is you look at the personnel, you look at what they rolled out against Auburn last time out. Nate Oates is desperate to be able to play 2 bigs in a lineup together, especially when you're playing the Floridas of the world that just have giant front courts. There's a lot of huge front courts, not only in the SEC, but when you get to the NCAA tournament, I've seen a lot of the Big Ten teams just completely massive at places like Michigan and Illinois. And I think that's what he's worried about long term, because now you're dealing with Aiden Sherrill having to play a big load. Some of the games he's just been subpar from an offensive efficiency point of view. And then Taylor Bowen has to supplement him, but he doesn't have quite the size or weight that like a Bediako had. And I think that was the whole hole in the team that they identified when they wanted to try to figure out how to get Bediako eligible. And now they have to move forward without him. I think the one good news they got was Wright-Sell is probable for tonight. And I was really concerned when he went down last time out. So it's a great sign that he'll be back, because I think he's one of their best defenders. There's obviously still elite shooting, but I do think Alabama's in trouble when they face bigger lineups going forward. And I think they had that trouble, earlier in the season, but they were able to beat Illinois with great shooting. And, there's still reason for belief that not only they're a good tournament team, but they could win, anywhere from 2 to 4 games in the NCAA tournament with this current roster. I just think Nate Oates is a perfectionist, and he wants the perfect lineup to match up with the Michigans, the Illinois, and the Floridas of the country.
The bracketeer Rocco Miller joins us here on 3-Man Front. You can check out his work at bracketeer.org. So let me ask you about the teams that maybe's on the bubble from the Southeastern Conference, in your opinion, right now that might be teetering. Is it a Texas? Is it a Mizzou? Who do you have the ones that really need a little bit of help down the stretch?
Yeah, it's definitely those two today. Texas right now, based on the fact that they got in last year with a under 500 record in what I call meaningful games. It's basically where you take the quad 4 results and ignore them, and then what's your record. I always thought the committee did a great job of that until last year, and they made a hall pass for Texas. Texas went 10-13 in their meaningful games, but they still got in. And I think this year's Texas team actually has their win at Alabama this year is better than anything they did last year. And right now that meaningful record sits at it's 7-9. So they're 2 under 500, just like Auburn is. But now that the precedent's in place, they have big wins over Vanderbilt and Georgia, where not only did they beat them at home, but they crushed them. I mean, those were dominant wins. Texas looks like they have a different gear. They also have an NC State win that matters from the Maui tournament. But again, you can't take too many losses. So Texas needs to at least go 500 down the stretch. I'd prefer them to go one game over 500 in that stretch. And you look at the rest of the Longhorn schedule, and it looks fairly manageable. They will get LSU at home. They get Oklahoma at home. Those have to be wins. Florida at home is a upside opportunity where, maybe they will perform at that higher level and get a huge elite win. They go to Missouri this Saturday, who we'll talk about in just a second. And then they also go to Georgia, A&M, and Arkansas. So the road games are all pretty tough. They'll need to find a way to win at least one of them and hold serve at home. I think they certainly have a path, and they are on the good side for right this minute. We'll see how this game tonight goes with Missouri. That will be on Saturday. As it stands for Missouri, they're playing that same game, but they don't have the same level of wins, in my opinion, as Texas. They did win at Kentucky. Unfortunately, Kentucky's net isn't as good as you would think because they've been blown out a number of times, and that's kept Kentucky around 30th in the net. And what that means is for, their top of the resume is not quite as strong as like a Texas winning at Alabama at this stage. That could always change. But as it pertains to the rest of the schedule, Missouri gets their big ones mostly at home. They play Arkansas twice, so they're playing them both places. But they also get this game against Texas on Saturday at home. They get Vanderbilt at home, and they get Tennessee at home. So if Missouri can just be a great home team, I think they find a way in. They also get a huge opportunity tonight in College Station. I think a beatable Texas A&M team. We'll see how that game goes. And then their other two road games are the non-tournament teams of Mississippi State and Oklahoma. So Missouri's path might actually be a tad easier than Texas. I just think Texas is actually a better team. So it'll be fascinating to see how they both play out. But I do think right now they're both in the field.
So if you're projecting right now total number of SEC teams, how many get in?
We're at 10. Yeah, we're at 10 exactly. And I think the 6 that are out would be South Carolina, Oklahoma, LSU, both Mississippi schools. And actually, you know what? We're at 11 because it's just those 5. So maybe we will land at 10. Maybe we will land at 11, I should say. And obviously, if Texas or Mizzou falls off, I think the league's still probably happy with 10. That would still be a historically pretty good year. Obviously, everybody was spoiled last year. But the league is still really deep, you guys. Like, look at Ken Palm right now. SEC still number 1 conference. They just don't have that number 1 seed right now. But the middle and the top 8 to 10 teams are all pretty strong teams, tournament caliber teams.
Who's the best team in college basketball when they're clicking on all cylinders? I would guess Arizona, but I want to hear it from you.
If you asked me last week, I would have said Illinois, and then we saw Illinois lose a couple times since then, and now I'm wondering. I do feel like they got a little bit of a rough whistle yesterday. Brad Underwood will tell you they got a rough whistle in both those games. I like their upside just because they're so gigantic and they're really hard to match up with, and I feel like they almost have depending on their bracket, they should have a pretty clean path to the Sweet 16, maybe even the Elite 8. Because there's just so many teams in the country that can't match up with them. But I also like Houston's pretty dominant, but we'll see if they can make the adjustments late with their young kids, and they're playing some huge Big 12 games down the stretch. And I think Arizona and Michigan have earned that right. They can get to a gear that most of the country can't get to. It's really hard to pick them apart at this point. I think Duke's got the highest floor, but you saw in that loss to North Carolina, they lack a little bit of a killer instinct to me. And I've seen games like the game last night with Pitt where they just kind of were lethargic, played about a C+ game, if I'm being nice. And then, they're just so much bigger than a lot of these teams. They can get the fouls. They can, Boozer can take over in 1 5-minute stretch, and all of a sudden they win by double digits. But they can't get away with that against the elite teams. And I think North Carolina's got a lot of holes in their defense. And the fact that Duke played even with them is concerning to me. So I'm not going to put Duke on that list. I think they'll fall at some point in the tournament. But it's very difficult. Like Arizona can obviously get to a higher gear, but they're very freshman dependent. I think if you want to go with a veteran team, maybe Michigan is the best choice.
Yeah. Well, we know Yax very well, who played at UAB here in Birmingham, and he has turned it up a notch there in Ann Arbor. Rocco, always appreciate your time. And, of course, your expertise. You can go to bracketeer.org for the very latest in bracketology. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll catch up with you next week, Rocco. Appreciate it as always.
My pleasure, fellas. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much. That's Rocco Miller joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Looking for somewhere great for lunch? Check out the newest Crafts location right there on 280 Mountain Brook, and you're going to be able to find it. It's an old Wendy's location for those of you familiar with Metro Birmingham, but what they're going to offer at Crafts, like the show already knew, but we found out with the Stallions last Friday's Crafts, they're going to serve it up. They're going to serve it up right. Everything made from scratch. You've got your meat and three, your stick to your ribs type things that we're all accustomed to and we love so much, like mac and cheese, rice and gravy, mashed potatoes. You want to go that route with the fried chicken. The chicken's amazing. Had a caller earlier that called in unsolicited on the show and said, that's the best chicken I've ever had. Well, it's not only the chicken, it's the salads. They've got frozen cocktails as well. Crafts on 280, the newest location. You can also check them out on Church Street. They're in Crestline Village, 7th Avenue South, craftsbhm.com. Get in for lunch, get in for dinner, And breakfast on 280 tomorrow morning.
Coming up next on Three Man Front, we'll give you an update from the Olympics, what's going on. It's been a very successful day for the Americans. We'll get to your calls and your texts. We're wide open the rest of the way on this Wednesday. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. It's been a productive morning over in Italy for the United States Olympic team. Got a silver in the men's Super G, as we've been playing that clip over and over again. If you missed it, one more time, Conrad. It's gold. Well, actually, it's silver, but
brown.
Yeah. Here is Ryan Concord Siegel, who won a silver this morning for the United States in the Super G.
I was like feeling okay in the downhill. Definitely had to fight some demons with the toilet before my run.
There you go. Who has it? Especially in international
As
competition.
if the Super G wasn't hard enough.
Yeah. There you go. Also this morning, It was a big day for the USA women in the ski moguls. They won the gold and silver. So if you're keeping score at home, the United States now just 3 medals behind Norway for the lead at the Winter Olympics. Took us a couple days, kind of start getting our sea legs, but yeah, we started performing like we expect.
It was a time difference, Pat. That's what it was. Those moguls, tough on the knees. I don't know how far into your career you can get and continue to do the moguls. But it looks like that would be very violent.
Very much so. So it has been a good day for the Americans. Coming up a little bit later, figure skaters Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. They compete for a medal in ice dancing, with the American pair currently in second place, just tenths behind the French leaders. So we'll see if we can't get a gold there.
I'm going to try to get into ice dancing because I want to support our country and the people who train so hard to win medals, to make us proud.
No, it's okay. You can come over to this side.
No, I'm not going to. Ever.
Has Paige watched it at all?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if you had banned her from watching it in your house.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah. She can go somewhere else and watch that. I'm kidding. I love my country. I just haven't been watching the Olympics. For anybody that doesn't know the joke.
Will you watch anything?
I have been locked into the luge. Like this is
really
my
has.
thing.
Like during the Chris Stewart interview, he was actually in here bothering us because
But that's
he was
not
trying to
work
watch
for
it on
you.
the big
You just
TV.
enjoy it. We walk in the office all the time. And you're running old 2-man luge video.
Well, I'm practicing. When my time is called.
Are you going to be the top?
Well, it's just funny because he's like laying down in the hallway asking Damien, "Hey, let's do a run." And there's no ice. Damien's like, "I'm not doing this."
It's like you lock your leg here, and then I'll lock mine around.
Well, who's top and bottom?
I'm a bottom.
You're a bottom? Okay.
Yeah.
So Damien's top. Is that a special seat that they're going so fast? I can't tell.
I mean, some of the men, they were getting up to like 80 miles an hour on that thing.
Is the competitor's body directly on top of the other competitor's body, or is there a cushioned seat?
No. It's flesh on flesh.
It's flesh on flesh.
Yeah.
And those
the
tight
way it's
lycra
intended
suits.
to be. Yeah. I bet the luge competitor, I bet they go wild. They're the ones that, like, when all the Olympians go out, they're the ones you got to keep an eye on.
Pat's got a great idea for a new Olympic event.
Absolutely.
I think it is wonderful. Racing, downhill, skis,
Jet
competitors.
ski, like snow ski. I mean, snowmobiles.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, snowmobiles.
Yeah.
We can get it. We can get it done. Or how about human curling?
Oh, like you push a person down there instead of a stone?
Molly would be a stone. Little Damien would be a stone.